I hope you don't get motion sickness, because on this episode of Aimlessly Wandering, we're taking on the Road to Hana. The Road to Hana, also known as the Hana Highway, is a 64.4-mile-long highway consisting of very narrow roads, 46 single-lane bridges, and 620 curves. Today we'll be checking out some amazing black sand beaches, tropical rainforests, some beautiful waterfalls and swimming holes, and so much more. Buckle up, it's time to go. Today we're hitting up the Road to Hana. It's about a 72-mile drive from Lahaina to Hana and 112 kilometers if you're Canadian. I got my cameraman and best friend Matt behind me, got my wife Adrian, got Tanya, my sister, got my parents. We're gonna hit it up. Don't really know what to expect, but we're loading up the van and hitting the road. Before we hit the highway, we had to make a quick coffee stop for my sister.
Hey, we're at Starbucks.
It's not a road trip without a stop at Starbucks, apparently. My sister does love her Starbucks. Isn't that right, Adrian?
Apparently.
With my sister freshly caffeinated, it was time to begin the Road to Hana.
The Road to Hana. Our official tour will begin just ahead as we pass the intersection of the Haleakala Highway.
That voice you heard was that of the Gypsy Guide app, but we just referred to it as Bob. After passing through Pua'a, the last major town along the way, we were officially on the Road to Hana. Now, the beginning of the adventures consists of a lot of tropical flora, some windy roads, and tight hairpin turns. But those tight roads led to Bob's first suggested stop. We should have gotten there earlier because by the time we got there, there was already a long line of cars waiting to get in. One thing I definitely suggest if you're taking the Road to Hana is leave early. There is so much traffic along the way and backups that you're not going to be able to see everything. Thankfully, we found our own little Garden of Eden. Through a tropical path, we were led to the first of many waterfalls, though this one was minor in comparison to what would follow. Now, the thing about the Road to Hana is that if you do it straight without stopping, you can reach the town of Hana within 2.5 hours. But our road trip took just over 10 hours. In saying that, it was worth every hour to get views and experiences like this. Shortly beyond the Garden of Eden, we found our next spot to pull over and explore, and it was probably my second favorite stop on the entire trip. Now, if this view looks familiar, you've probably seen Jurassic Park. Just around the corner from here, they filmed the opening scene of the first Jurassic Park movie. Thankfully, there were no dinosaurs on the road to where we were heading. As you can see,
I am walking.
Now, this is one of those moments where I wish we had had a Jeep, but it was a pretty walk nevertheless, and it led to such a beautiful place. Welcome to Honomanu Bay, my second favorite stop on the trip. We'll get to my first favorite a little bit more ahead. Honomanu Park is located between mile markers 12 and 13 along the Road to Hana and is open without reservations from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. If you're looking for a spot to have a light picnic breakfast, this park offers stunning views. How's this for a view?
It's pretty nice.
Pretty nice indeed. This is amazing. There's actually black sand beaches here in Hawaii. We didn't make reservations at one of the black sand beaches, but if you're making the Road to Hana tour, definitely stop here. It's about a 6-minute walk, and it leads you right to this. It's absolutely breathtaking. Breathtaking is truly an understatement. Now, you'll want to watch this part closely. Did you catch that? My kid sister fell right into the water. Thankfully, she was okay, and she wasn't the only one that fell that day, but more on that later. By now, you can hopefully see why we love this beach so much. The black sand beaches were lined with amazing flora, surrounded by the sounds of waves crashing and endless views out into the Pacific Ocean. It almost made me want to put up a hammock and spend the entire day here, soaking up the sun. But besides black sand, this beach was also lined with fascinating volcanic rocks.
Look at how pretty and unique that rock is. It's a lava rock.
I still can't get over that view though. Well, some guidebooks say that there isn't an accessible road to get here. If you are in a Jeep, you can follow the small road down to the entrance of the park. And while swimming isn't necessarily easy here, you could cool off in this little freshwater beach. So this is like a really quiet beach, which is nice. Like usually when you think of beaches in Hawaii, you think of like lots of people, hard to find spots to relax. But what we've noticed about this pull-off is that like hardly anyone's here, which is great because now you can just relax and enjoy. And you don't need reservations. But perhaps the best thing about this little gem is that it wasn't busy at all. We felt like we had the entire beach all to ourselves. While we may have been mostly alone, this spot is a favorite amongst locals and fishermen and serves as a stunning reminder of just how beautiful nature can be. This park also serves as a great backdrop for all those amazing Instagram photos. When I married Adrian, she told me I was a great Instagram husband. This behind-the-scenes shot shows the length that I would go to get her all of the best angles. Would you recommend this beach for people coming to Hana?
I would, especially if you don't have a reservation for the regular one.
A quick endorsement from my best friend Matt.
10 out of 10, would definitely recommend.
Of course, Honomanu Bay wasn't the only stop on our trip, so it was time to walk back to the car and see where our next stop would lead us. When you travel with Matthew, you always travel in style. Speaking of Matt, let's check in with him now.
I want to see a waterfall. It better be all Niagara Falls up in it.
Don't worry, Matt. I'm sure we'll find some waterfalls soon. We took one last view in before reaching the car, and we were excited to see where the next road led us to. Our next stop was the Waikani Arboretum, which is located shortly past mile marker 16. If you're a tree and plant lover, this spot is for you.
I know you can't capture this on video, but it has a unique smell to it. It's kind of like sticky sweet, almost like a bit of rice.
Well, that's certainly one way of explaining it, Andrew. I was truly blown away by these rainbow-colored eucalyptus trees, something I had never before seen in my life. The garden was also home to many other types of plants, including nara, breadfruit, ginger, and taro. If you're making this stop, you should plan to spend at least 20 to 30 minutes here.
One thing I will say about hiking in a tropical rainforest, it gets humid so fast. I'm sweating bullets here.
Now, I've said it in past videos, and I'll say it again. When hiking anywhere hot, drink plenty of water. This holds especially true in tropical rainforests. It does get hot fast. After spending about 30 minutes here, we made our way back to the car and set out to find a nice place to have lunch. The Waikani Lookout is a mere 3 minutes away from the Waikani Gardens. If you're driving to Hana, you must make this a stop. And while it's not great for swimming, it certainly makes a great background to a picnic lunch.
Not a bad place to stop for lunch.
Now, unfortunately, as beautiful as this park was, these are actually some of the last videos taken with my Sony DSLR A7 camera. Shortly after eating lunch and taking these stunning shots, I lost my footing and fell into the ocean, bringing my camera along with me. Fortunately, my memory card survived, and aside from having a bruised ego and a few scrapes, I was fine. The camera, however, was not. RIP my camera, hopefully you can be fixed, but you are certainly missed. In that it was such a nice trip and that we were surrounded by so much beauty, I couldn't let one accident ruin what was otherwise a perfect day. After using the restrooms and finishing our lunches, we were back on the road in search of more adventure. It was around this time that I was truly thankful that my stepdad brought his drone, because without it, we may not have fully appreciated the wonder of our next stop. The Upper Waikani Falls, also known as Three Bears Waterfalls, is a spellbindingly gorgeous trio of falls located just beyond mile marker 19. They are referred to as the Three Bears thanks to the three separate but parallel falls of varying lengths, with the third and smaller one being referred to as the Baby Bear. While they can somewhat be seen from the road itself, we found a pull-off spot that was perfect to launch my stepdad's drone from, and with his amazing piloting skills, we got these screensaver-worthy shots. Thanks, Hawkview Aerial Solutions! After capturing these stunning shots, it was time to load up the van and once again chase down some excitement. Now, it's tempting to stop at every waterfall along the way, but if you resist the temptation and take some of the suggestions we've offered in this video, we promise you'll get plenty of opportunities to go for a dip beside some astounding waterfalls. The first set of waterfalls that we were brave enough to try could be found at the Pua'a State Wayside Park, located around mile marker 22.
I'm probably gonna regret this.
I can't properly describe with words what it felt like to be surrounded by a cold tropical waterfall, so I will have to let the video do the trick.
Is someone tickling him? Like, what's happening?
No, Matt, I was just being crushed by cold flowing water.
Okay, so once you actually get in, it's not that bad. It's just a little cold, that's all.
While the upper pools were busy with fall jumpers and swimmers, this lower pond was a fantastic and cold place to cool off.
Not gonna lie, kinda cool.
I could only handle a few minutes in these pools, and after having a few pictures taken, it was time to hop out.
Stop tickling me! Stop tickling me! You got it? You moved! You blinked, sorry.
These are not like Niagara Falls.
Guess I'll have to go to Canada then.
Yes, Matt, you always have a place to stay in Niagara Falls. After blowing up our camera roll and making yet another bathroom stop, it was time to once again go searching for even more waterfalls. Now, the great thing about being surrounded by waterfalls is that you don't have to go far to find them. Our next one was located at mile marker 24, which is home to Hanawi Falls, a popular place with the locals. Once again, the waters were cold.
Not gonna lie, it's beautiful, but I'm pretty sure it's cold. As you can see,
Yes, it truly was cold. But seeing as I was in search of a true Hawaiian experience, I wasn't going to let a little bit of cold water rain on my parade. This is one of Hana's most cherished and spectacular spots, and one I would say you must stop at. The water at the lower falls cascades from a height of 200 feet and is a spring-fed river that tracks into the ocean 9 miles downslope. Because of this, both the upper and lower falls cascade year-round. The water is astounding, and the jungle that surrounds it is truly picturesque. I can't remember the last time I've seen water so clear, if ever, but it was truly something I would never forget. After drying off, it was time to head to yet another one of the Road to Hana's famous beaches. Koki Beach Park is one of the 2 famous Hana surf breaks and a favorite park for local surfers. This surfer's paradise is located on Highway 31, just over half a mile from mile marker 51. With time running out before sunset and one more waterfall yet to check out, it was time to load up the van and head straight to our final destination. If there was one spot that I had to choose as my favorite, simply for views and swimming alone, this would be it. Wailua Falls is located just north of Lihue, just past mile marker 45. These waterfalls are not to be missed if you want a truly amazing Road to Hana memory. Nestled behind a single-lane bridge built in 1911, these falls were the second busiest falls we encounter along our journey, and with good reason. Wailua Falls is easily one of Maui's most photographed waterfalls. I strongly suggest parking across the bridge and walking over to them to truly experience their full beauty.
I just can't get over how beautiful this is. This is one of the best waterfalls I've seen on this road trip.
Looking up, I felt like I was in another planet. I couldn't believe just where we were. It was unlike anything I had ever experienced before in my previous travels. You know what I've been saying about swimming in waterfalls throughout the day though, right?
It's cold.
Just in case you needed another reminder. Hey Hesse, what do you think of these falls?
Well, it's not Niagara Falls, but I guess it'll have to do for now.
Well, we meant to keep going past Wailua Falls. The day was coming to an end, and the sun was getting closer to setting. So if this was the way we had to end our trip, then by no means do I have any complaints. If I had to pick 2 words to describe my experience on the road to Hana, it would be the following.
Absolutely amazing.
I cannot stress this enough. If you are making the trip along the road to Hana, you must stop here.
Alright, that's going to do it for the road to Hana. I swam at, I think, 3 waterfalls. It's been a fun trip. Now it's time to make the drive back home.
And with that, we can officially say we survived the road to Hana. All in, our adventure was about 10 hours, and if I could do it again, I would in a heartbeat. You can't make a trip to Maui without a trip along the road to Hana. Be sure to hit that like, subscribe, and alert button so you don't miss out on part 4 and other fun moments from our trip, like this one.
I found half a coconut. Coconut.